So let's talk about it, family. Finally, the WBC decided to do what they failed to do at the super middleweight division for David Benavidez. As a matter of fact, the WBC decides to come out and affirm that David Benavidez is going to be the mandatory for Dimitri Bivol belts or whatnot in his next fight. Now, what happens from there, we don't know. But it's a lot of articles that are reporting this. And let me just go over what I see in the boxing scene real quick. So basically they saying like the sanctioning bodies says it won't make Benavidez wait for a chance at the undisputed light heavyweight championship. And this just goes to show, when people try to run this little narrative or talk about, well, if David Benavidez would have stayed at super middleweight and wait for Canelo to pick him, the fight would have happened. And they know good damn well the WBC never forced the mandatory to allow David Benavidez to actually get the opportunity to fight a Canelo Alvarez, because a lot of times there's money at stake. And they also mentioned it in this article is talking about, hey, you know, sanctioning bodies, you know, tend to follow the money along with the promoters and the managers. And that's true. But look, kudos to the WBC. Look, listen, I like David Benavidez. Me personally, I would like to see the trilogy as well between Bivol and Beterbiev, because I thought they put on two excellent fights and whatnot. And both of those, you know, went, you know, it got split, whereas there was a majority decision on the scorecards, and it was identical on the scorecards, you know what I'm saying, both times in the split. But I don't mind seeing David Benavidez taking this fight. Now, however, since Turkey would like to see a trilogy, it's more than likely the fight with David Benavidez and Dimitri Bivol probably will not happen next. However, if the sanctioning body, as in the WBC, decides to really do their job like they should have did at super middleweight, then there's a big possibility that Dimitri Bivol could actually vacate the belt and go and move on with the trilogy. Also, there's another opportunity where though Bivol might vacate the actual WBO belt as well to Callum Smith, since he did get the win on the undercard of the Bivol and Beterbiev 2 rematch or whatever. He got that win over Joshua Buatsi. But that could happen, and they could continue on with the trilogy. Whereas though David Benavidez, if he was smart enough, let's just say if, you know, Bivol vacates 2 different belts, the WBO and WBC, then they could, you know, David Benavidez and Kyle Smith could, you know, possibly go for a unification. Hopefully they could do that unification. And then they could double back on undisputed. Anyway, let's just say if Dimitri Bivol decides to vacate the belts, just get prepared for the narrative to all of a sudden people going to say, well, Bivol is ducking David Benavidez, which I disagree, because we talking about a rubber match with a guy in Artur Beterbiev, you know what I'm saying, right away, instead of, you know, going right into the David Benavidez fight. So I'm not going to call that a duck. Now, I'm going to just say this. Let's just say if Dimitri Bivol decides to not fight Artur Beterbiev and he fights somebody else completely different, then you could call that a duck. Especially if he even doesn't even fight Callum Smith. Then you could say he's avoiding David Benavidez. But in this case, like I said, it looked like they're going to be working on the trilogy. And also, like I said earlier, it looked like the WBC is going to be want to do the right thing. You know what I'm saying? Now they want to show some type of integrity when Canelo was, you know, not on the line. Now, I will say this as well. I know people will make reports talking about, well, Canelo want to cut the line and possibly, you know, cut off David Benavidez and have that rematch with Dimitri Bivol. Listen, this is what I'm going to say, man. Canelo don't want that rematch with Dimitri Bivol. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care what nobody say. He don't want that rematch with Dimitri Bivol. He could have already had that rematch, but he made up every excuse in the world why he lost and why he ain't get the rematch with Dimitri Bivol. So we could just cut that one short. And if Canelo does do something like that, then you have to call Canelo out again for the simple fact of the matter is that he's willing to go fight Dimitri Bivol in a rematch, but refuses to fight somebody like David Benavidez. So, you know, that shit done sell for Canelo. Because as a matter of fact, Dimitri Bivol already, you know, he called Canelo bluff and said, you know what, since you said I was too big, I'll come down to your weight and fight you. And of course, Canelo used the excuse like, well, I don't want to weight drain him. But yo, you put rehydration clauses on other fighters, Canelo. So let's just let that shit sell for a second. But anyway, what do y'all think, man? WBC finally showing some integrity when Canelo's name is not involved in it? Or do you believe David Benavidez is going to take step aside money and allow the trilogy to happen? With that being said, bold and understanding, I'm out. Peace.